So it is a lovely, muggy morning here in Zone 8B on the eastern coast of North Carolina. And we've had some storms the last few days, but my gosh, the sky is beautiful this morning, isn't it? Let me give you some updates.
It's a hard mulch life for me. It's a hard mulch life for you. Planting, gardening, best we can do.
As you guys know, I've been trying to plant that large 9-foot bed. And of course, the weather has not been cooperating. But we did need the rain. I mean, we have gotten a lot of rain like the last couple of days. Um, Good and bad, there's always good. I've been trying not to water the plants in the morning because I know the rain's coming and I don't want them to get overwatered. So some of the things are looking pretty good. I'm just taking a look around some of the tomatoes. Everybody's looking like they're doing okay. We had a couple of plants break yesterday. There was some really heavy downpours, and unfortunately, we lost some marigolds. Let me show you. So in this bed with my cherry tomatoes and regular tomatoes, we had a whole bunch of African marigolds that were quite tall. And unfortunately, yesterday, it looks like the amount of rain that we got and a little bit of wind pushed them over and they broke. So I had pruned several of them yesterday just because I couldn't get them to stand back up, and it was not going to happen. So I pruned them and I took the flowers inside. But it looks like as of tonight, we got a little more rain, I guess, and another one broke over. So that's unfortunate. But you know what happens. The marigolds over here are doing quite well. We've got one guy over here who's kind of fell over a little. He's not broken. He just has he's decided to lay down a bit. He's tired. And these guys up here, they're doing pretty good. So hopefully when the storms come through this afternoon, they're going to do okay. Our potatoes here, except for this plant, which seems to want to continue to live. I want to live. These others are just about ready. I mean, they're yellowing and dying over. And would you believe a third sunflower plant has appeared in this bed with these potatoes? There was only two, I promise you. And this little guy appeared out of nowhere. I think I thought he was one of the potato plants that was dying over because he's kind of bent. And then I guess after the rain and stuff, he just shot up. It looks like he's going to open today. This one's going to open eventually. It's the taller of all of them, but it hasn't opened yet. And of course, this guy opened a few days ago. So I've always told you that I'll tell you when I make my mistakes, and I do make a glorious amount of them. Not just in gardening, just in life. But in working with the bed during the storms yesterday, I tried to come out in between and plant some of the plants. I thought, well, I've always heard that the rainwater is really good, especially when it's thundering and lightning, because it kind of electrifies the atmosphere, and the plants really like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've seen it in a couple of books, and I've seen it on several other gardening channels or people discussing planting or whatever. Well, I came out with my pumpkins, two baby pumpkins, and I attempted to plant them. Here's how it went. So I'm sorry I couldn't film it, but it was raining so much that I was worried about getting all my gear wet. And that was the result. These looked really good yesterday, and they are dead. I even tried putting some domes on them, thinking maybe I can cut some of the water hitting them and that the heat would help pop them up, but nope, they died. And then, of course, I've read that pumpkins don't like to be transplanted, and it seemed like they just got transplant shock and just committed suicide. So I planted some other pumpkins in the rest of the bed down here, and then some cantaloupe around this area here. And again, I wish I could have filmed it for you, but literally it was running in and out of rain showers. So we have quite a bit of squash, and so that is the reason why I planted two more squash. Well, see, I had grown them. See, being a new gardener, I never know what's going to die and what's going to live, and what the combination is. I'm still learning all that stuff. So for me, I thought, well, I'll plant a couple other squashes like I have down over here, and then if one of the other plants happens to die, then I've got a backup. And there's also something called succession planting. Oops, almost fell. Succession planting, which is getting something ready for when the other plants start to die off, so you continue to have fruit going the entire time. So here's my squash. These guys actually did pretty well yesterday. They seem to like the extra water and the electrified atmosphere and all that kind of jazz, and did pretty darn well. As did their older cousins. They did really well. I mean, these guys, these are cucumbers over here, but um, and yet another sunflower. But these guys, just look at that. They got a bee inside my flower, doing his job. Mr. Pollinator. Thank you, Mr. Bee. We appreciate your service, sir. Another one. Oh, there's a couple bees in there, I think. Yeah, several. That's pretty cool. And of course, the rain and the heavy weight of the plants have pulled my trellis down. So that's what I got to do this morning, is to try to fix that, because this thing looks like it's been pulled out of the ground and it was cemented in. So it's really been pulled outward. I guess the weight of the ground and the fact the ground got so wet. So I've got to get a board and go across the top here, so that these plants can have some support. Otherwise, it's just pointless. So that's what I'm doing today. It is supposed to rain again today, but not till the afternoon. So I'm hoping to get the rest of the stuff planted that I wanted to get planted in that bed. And I'll show you what I was working on. I'll show you what I planted, and there's a trick to how I planted it. First time I've tried it. That's supposed to be um, an easier way for cantaloupe and pumpkin and large seeded plants like that to make it a little bit easier for them to germinate. So it's a trick I learned on one of the other channels. They're called Epic Gardening. If you really want to learn some stuff, check them out. If you want to just watch somebody make a disaster and fumble through things, you can hang out here too. But as I always do, I encourage you to look around. There's lots of fantastic gardening channels out there, and Epic is one that I watch a lot, along with Team Grow. He's James. I forget what his last name is. Oh, I feel so bad. But I mean, there's Meg, who's in Raleigh. She's in the area that I'm in. She's zone 8A, but it turns to 8B when you get towards me. And then there's a millennial gardener who's also down towards Wilmington, and he's in 8B with me as well. I'd love to be able to meet these people someday. It would be great to be able to talk with them. But it's just been interesting learning from them. So I encourage you, please do your research. If you're in a different area like Colorado or whatever, I promise you there are gardening channels anywhere you are. Anyway, let me show you how I did with the seeds. All right, so here's what we got. So first of all, this is cilantro and parsley that the cats knocked off the counter and mixed all the seeds up. So now I've got to spend all this time figuring out, well, I know which seeds go where, but if you can see, the parsley seeds are so tiny, it's going to take forever. The best bet is to pick the cilantro ones out, and that's what I'm going to be doing here for probably an hour. Picked some tomatoes yesterday because they were getting overly ripe, and you can see from all the water we've had some splitting because the insides were growing faster than the outside. But they should still be okay. We're going to probably stew them up the next day or so. We don't want to let them sit too long since they've already split. So these are the guys that I planted yesterday. These two, this is the original two plants that committed suicide, that have thrown themselves back into the great mulch pile. And then this is the other one. Now, the reason you might be asking, like, Jay, you're not going to get pumpkins before Halloween. And I said, well, I did the math. This one's 110 days, and this one is 90. So I did the math, and this one should be done and be ready to harvest right around October 15th, if not a little before, maybe a little after, depending on how the weather goes. Then this is the cantaloupe. Now, the reason why I did these three is I've been trying to grow these three for a while, and they don't seem to do well in small grow containers. They grow great for a while. Like I said, these guys looked wonderful. But the second I transplanted them, they just died right off. I don't know why that is. Maybe it has something to do with the way their seeds are, or maybe they have very sensitive roots. I'm not sure. Again, I'm a new gardener. I'm still learning all this stuff. But what we did was this. Okay, this is a pumpkin seed. Now you see how it's got that little nub on top there? That's where it's going to sprout from. Now, what the guys over at Epic, Kevin and Jacques, said is the best thing to do, because it's very difficult sometimes for the seed to break through because it's such a very tough little shell, is they cut just a small section of it. I've even seen them kind of crack it too, but I think that was for a different plant. So I don't like to waste things. What I want to do is find something I can plant this guy in. I guess I could put him in the bed, but I worry if I put another one of these in the bed, they're just going to get really, really big all over the place. But I guess I could. Um, so we're going to cut just a small section of that. Now, I've also heard of people soaking these seeds for, like 24 hours or so. I've heard of people saying put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. I did probably pretty much everything I could do. And I've heard of people saying that they soak the seeds for 24 hours or put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide after you sow them in their containers. But I've tried all those tricks and nothing has worked. So we're just going to take a little scissors here. We're going to come right to the edge of this, okay? We're just going to put a little slice across there. Now, I don't know if you can see that. You can see into it just a bit, just enough to give the plant that's inside a chance to push through. All right, so we're going to head back to the bed, and I'm going to find a spot for this little seed. And then I'm going to figure out the rest of the stuff I'm going to put in there. There's a row I want to put down the center. It does look really pretty out here in the morning. It's probably about 6:45 this morning, I guess now. Give or take a 45 or two. I just love it when the sun hits the plants. Got the rebirth thing, and then corn is doing so well. All right, where are we going to plant you? Lots of bees out today. I don't know if you guys can hear all that. I guess right in here we'll plant. There's one here, so I want to make sure that I'm far enough back that they're not gonna overlap each other. So probably about there. We'll put it about right here, I guess. Hopefully this bed does well. I really, really wanted cantaloupe as one of my favorites, and so I guess I'll give you guys an update once I have everything planted. Man, all these bees are just going crazy today. I don't know if you can hear that. But I've got a little projects to do to keep the garden up to speed, and I'll let you guys know how we're doing. All right, thanks for watching.